question I wanted to ask both of you is how you conceive the interplay of words and pictures.
And that's one of the subjects of the lecture/performance. What happens when you do comics with one hand tied behind your back, meaning you can't use the word part of communication? It requires a different kind of engagement with the picture.
Comics can pierce past our critical defenses and burn an image directly into the brain, because comics mimic the way the brain works and therefore can explore the mysteries of capital A art.
But I really didn't want this to feel like an animatic. I didn't want it to feel like this is going to become an animated cartoon. You're just looking at a few key shots. I wanted you to always know that it came from a book and that it's book-related. So it starts by showing a couple of people who are masters of this related form of comics to the Mazariel work, but showing the differences and similarities even when they're dealing with very similar themes. And from there, it manages to show how this infection spread of this new kind of picture storytelling, from Mazariel to a guy named Otto Nukel to a guy named Lind Ward.
I mean, that's one of the things about the work that form the whole fabric of the show, is it's so diverse. We start with stuff from the late 1800s and go to stuff that was created just for this show. So there's such a variety to it. And whether you're talking about the relationship of the music and the picture, or the issue of high and low art, when people look at an engraving or a woodcut, it says high art. When they look at a drawing, like the work of Mill Gross, it looks like a comic book. And those are very rigid distinctions, but actually one grew out of the other and they're constantly interpermeating.
There's so many different moods and tones in this thing, and I think of these pieces that we're showing, which are sometimes a section of a woodcut novel, sometimes a complete work, is that they're very different from each other, and the different tones are reflected by the different music. One thing that always made me happy to work with Phillip is he's very eclectic in his sources, because he knows the history the same way I know the history of this comic stuff. And as a result, he can make musical references that are totally appropriate for Milt Gross, that feel sort of in the direction of kind of some slapstick comedy, animated cartoon zone of music, and then also be moving through a Brecht Weil kind of feeling for some other things, free jazz for yet others. And
that was a process of discovery, of seeing what worked together, not only the individual works themselves, but how it fell together as a whole piece, because it really is a whole piece that has a beginning, a middle, and an end.